Already, thank you for joining us today and congratulations on your new ride. My name is Kevin and I'm with Cool the Earth. We are an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions. While we are big fans of walking, biking, public transportation, and carpooling, preferably in an electric car, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the adoption of electric vehicles, EVs, e-bikes, in a fair and just marketplace. Whether you got your EV from Cartelligent, a dealer, or you bought it used, we're happy you can join us today, and we hope we can help you make the transition, help your transition be smooth. Also, before I forget, I'd like to thank San Jose Clean Energy for sponsoring this webinar tonight. All right, here's our agenda: charging at home, charging at work, being on the road during a PSPS. I'm so glad we haven't heard PSPS a lot lately. I hope I'm not jinxing us. And we're going to talk about charging with clean, affordable electricity, incentives, and we're going to finish with an Ask Me Anything. By the way, we're going to send these slides to you at the end. Well, not at the end. We're going to send it with our follow-up note, so you don't have to be super detailed in your slide notes. If there's something already on screen, we're going to send it to you. All right, we're going to start with talking about climate impact. Thank you for your commitment to driving electric. Decreasing fossil fuel consumption both reduces carbon emissions and air pollution and helps every living being on the planet. I mean, animals, plants, and us. We're all helped by your commitment. We're going to take a look at the breakdown of California's greenhouse gas emissions. It's important to take lots of climate actions, but this chart emphasizes the importance of getting off of fossil fuels. Our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of emissions in the Bay Area, in California, and in the US, representing up to 50% of our individual carbon footprints. When you switch from a gas car to an EV and plug into clean energy, you cut your carbon footprint in half. Thank you for that, and use this tidbit with friends, neighbors, and interested family. San Jose Clean Energy, by the way, has been San Jose's local clean electricity provider since 2019. There are many similar agencies across the Bay Area and state. They save you money on more renewable energy than just about anywhere. They design programs to reduce emissions and help our community experience the benefits of clean energy, and I've heard they're very helpful. Lots of you have come to us from the San Jose area, so I'm guessing that many of you know about San Jose Clean Energy. All right, let's kick it off with a charging overview. Now, this chart just kills me because it makes it look like rocket science. I know some of you are going to know all of this, but for those of you who are new to this, there's 3 ways to charge. One is with a regular old plug. That's on the left of your screen there. 2 is with like a 240 volt plug, which is like what most people have in a dryer in their garage. And then the 3rd is level 3 charging. And you see there's like 3 different kinds of level 3 charging. Try not to drown in the details here. The great thing about charging is, like, on the 10th time you do it, it's going to seem really easy. Now, the first 9 times may not be so easy, but that's like most things that are worthwhile. When you plug in at home, you're going to do it without one on the left or the one in the middle, a level 1 or level 2 charger. When you're out on the road, you're going to be using one of those fast chargers more than likely, which is level 3 fast charge. And I got to say, I'm so tired of saying level 1, 2, and 3. Why don't we just say sort of slow, medium, and fast? But I digress. All right, to recap, level 1 works with a 120 volt outlet. It's low cost, it's easy. For most people, you can get 25 to 40 miles overnight, and you plug it in nightly if you have a PHEV. PHEV is plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and it'll get you fully charged up overnight. It's really, most of us only drive like 25 miles a day. So for a lot of people, it's all they need. Level 2 requires a 240 volt outlet. If you're gonna get your dedicated charging station in your garage, you really need to consult with an electrician. Unless you're an electrician yourself, they can help you figure out all the stuff, like how much it's going to cost, where's the right place to put it, do you have enough power in your breakout box, all the stuff that we kind of know and could do on our own. But yeah, getting an electrician is really important. They'll also help you get the maximum amperage, which is important as we get impatient and want to be charged faster. It's important too to do some research on home charging stations. You can go get one at Walmart, or you can do a whole bunch of research and do a lot of calling and asking. Most people are somewhere in between, but do your research just like any important purchase that you make, and you'll be happier with yourself. We include this URL, homecharging.electricforall.org. Electric for All is awesome. If you get a chance, go visit them, see the things that they offer for all kinds of people who are doing all kinds of things electric, including getting an EV. All right. Smart splitters. Yeah. So if you have like a dryer and you want to tap off your dryer and make it part-time EV, part-time dryer, a smart splitter is super useful. I've had an EV for a number of years. I still haven't bought the smart splitter. I just have a little thing that converts a 120 plug to 220, just in terms of its form factor, and that's what I use. And I unplug my dryer and I plug in my car when I need to charge at home. So smart splitters, they're just everybody I know says, "Kevin, go get one, dummy," and I'm like, I'm gonna, and I will eventually. One of the messages that we find people asking about, or the questions people ask, include, when is it ideal to charge your EV? And that includes when, especially if you have rooftop solar. If you've got rooftop solar, you should charge during the day when solar is strong. Actually, even if you don't have rooftop solar, that's when we get most of our grid being clean from solar and hydro and wind. Your utility, it's really important to remember that your utility may offer a special reduced EV or time of use rate. So you pay less for electricity during certain times of the day. The time that you'll want to charge your EV may be between midnight and 3 p.m., but look at your plan and figure out when that is. And you can definitely talk to whoever is providing your power and make sure that you've got the right plan for you. By the way, there are the nine CCAs in the Bay Area. CCAs were developed about 12, 13 years ago, and they help us buy clean energy, create and buy clean energy, whereas when it was just one provider of energy before CCAs came in, that was always a question. This EV2A is the affordable energy plan that comes from PG&E. And since PG&E is always the one bringing the wire to your house, they may not be the one who creates the energy, but they bring the wire to your house. That's why knowing your pgne.com/rates address is important for you, because there's research to be done there for you. Why daytime charging? Oh yeah, she mentioned this. This is a graph from the California Independent System Operator, which is the nonprofit organization that operates the state's electricity grid. Powering the state is pretty much of a balancing act, and it's most cost-effective and resilient when we can use the most clean energy at the right time. Yeah, you can see on this typical November day, the grid has a ton of solar in the middle of the day. Charging when the sun is shining is a double win because you'll be drawing from the grid when renewable energy is most available, and it is typically at the cheapest price. If you're curious, anyone can access the CAISO website. It's kind of dull, but it's interesting if it's your thing. I don't want you to think I'm judging you if you like the CAISO website. And yeah, that green line is really important here. Again, you're going to get this deck. So if you want to share this with friends and neighbors, you're going to get a chance. Charging routine. Yeah, it's really great never to go to a gas station. On a day-to-day basis, you really want to charge up to about 80%. If you're going to go on a trip the next day, or you got a long driving day the next day, for whatever reason, charge up to 100%. But in general, you want to charge up to 80 for two reasons. One is it tends to help the battery age gently. And you want the gentle aging of your battery, just like I want the gentle aging of me. And the second reason is with regenerative braking. If you charge up to 100%, the little extra braking you get with your regen doesn't happen for a while. Like you have to wear down the battery a little bit for you to get the full benefit of regenerative braking. So 80% is a great time to go. Place to go. By the way, plug in your PHEV. That's so funny. So many people that we find out afterwards don't plug in their PHEV. So they're like, I drive, and they don't realize they're just using gas all the time. That's not you, but it happens to people. Charging at work is a benefit that I have seldom had being a freelancer, but I have had on occasionally working for clients who do have charging at work. Your workplace will more than likely have level 2 charging, which is that 220 volt charging. It can add 10, 12, even 20 miles per hour, depending on how you've got that set up. It's really handy. Charge at work if you can. If you can't, maybe ask your employer to put in charging. This question is coming up more and more. If you are part of a multifamily property, you don't have all the options that somebody has in a single family home with a garage, or in any case, someone who can just plug in and it's their thing. Great thing to remember about this is that you can charge on 120 volts, even in like a garage that's not yours, and you're going to get maybe 25 miles overnight, which is what most people need. So it's not the end of the world. There are these new smart outlets. If cost is a concern and you're in a shared situation where you're in a garage and your neighbors or your landlord wants to know, well, how much energy are you using? There's these little devices that you can plug into the wall, plug your EV in, and then it identifies who you are and how you've signed up for it, obviously, who you are and how much electricity you're using. And then you can do a charge back or a charge forward to your landlord or your tenants association. So that's a great thing. Charge at work, use public chargers, sign up for EV Match. EV Match is pretty cool. It's just one of those things that came up 10 years ago now, where if there's somebody nearby who's an EV owner and they want to share their spigot, it's on your app and you can go find them and say, hey, neighbor, thanks for sharing your spigot. And yeah, EV Match is pretty cool. Advocate ! Just means if none of these options are working for you and you're in a multifamily property, we will help you. There are many of us who will help you advocate for a better solution, either in that property or in the context of your neighborhood or in the context of your jurisdiction, your city or county. So, yeah. Smart outlets, I was talking about that. It's just really simple. You plug this into your outlet. It's helps you pay for your own EV charging, and it handles all the billing. I have a friend who did this, and he showed me once. I'm like, this is really easy. Even I could do this. And so if this is a thing you need to do, follow it up. It can be done, and it can be done relatively cheaply. Charging on the road. Okay, so I've owned a couple of EVs and done a lot of road trips. This is something I can tell you is difficult right now for people who don't own a Tesla, because a lot of chargers out there are not working as full-time as they need to be. Step back and remember, most people are doing 90% of their charging at home or at work. But on the road, if you want to go to a fast charging station, we go to the next slide here. There's a couple of things you'll want to do. You will have wanted to plan your trip. Again, if you own a Tesla, congratulations. It's a no-brainer. It's built into the system, and their stations all work. Which, by the way, they made it work in 2012. It's been working since 2012. Where's the free market taking care of us who are not driving Teslas? Anyway, public charging tips. Yeah, it's so funny because the speed of charging really does depend on the car you're trying to charge, the charger speed, and they're variable. It can depend on the time of day, where you're at, how cold or how hot it is. These are things just to keep in the back of your mind. In general, though, of course, public charging and fast charging is super fast. Like I have gotten from 20% charge to 80% charge in half an hour, 25 minutes. So it's just barely enough time for me to go get my Diet Coke, decide whether I'm going to have something else to eat, and get back to the car. Oh yeah, I got a little note here. Beware of the linger fee. That is to make sure that people don't just like go somewhere, eat dinner, see a movie, and leave their car charging. You don't want that person to be ahead of you, and you don't want to be that person. So there are linger fees for all of the different charging systems. Navigation apps are important. You will want to plan your trip. I used a Better Route Planner for a long time. It's really handy and easy to use. You just get it. It's free. They offer you a pay version for like $5 a month, and then it does a bunch of tracking and stuff. PlugShare, also free. I think they have a pay version too. Make sure you have both on your phone. It's easy to download them and fairly easy to use both of them when you're out on a trip. Excuse me. Keep in mind that a lot of hotels have chargers at their hotel. Some of them don't even charge you. So that's good. If you're out and about and staying in an Airbnb or a Vrbo, you can probably negotiate with your provider, with that person, to make sure they're okay with it. Charging networks, Electrify America, EVgo, Tesla ChargePoint. Okay, so I have all of these: Electrify America, EVgo, and ChargePoint. Electrify America has more than anyone. They also, in my experience, tend to be more unreliable. EVgo has slightly less than EA. They also can be slightly unreliable. You want to look before you get there, because in theory, the apps will tell you whether or not there's an open and working charge port for you. ChargePoint does a lot of schools and workplaces. There are ChargePoint chargers in some shopping malls or down at the Civic Center, that kind of thing. Tesla, gold standard again. Remember, we can like Tesla without necessarily approving of everything that the owner does. That's my disclaimer when I tell people I like Tesla. All right. Oh, big question. Powering up with an EV during power outages. People always hear, well, what if there's a power outage? How will I drive my car? Well, hopefully your car will not be on zero. Well, it's almost never going to be on zero, right? If you're on zero, you're getting a tow somewhere. But you want to keep your car at some level of charge between 25 and 75 or 80%. And at that point, your car can drive typically, again, 130, 150 miles. So you're not stuck or anything. But with a 300-watt inverter, which costs you like $30, you can plug that into your car and power up a whole bunch of stuff in your home. Small appliances like cell phones and laptops and LED lights. There are a couple and growing great cars. Kia EV6, Hyundai Ioniq 5 can offer higher wattage, what they call bidirectional abilities, which can basically make it like a generator delivering about 1,800 watts or so. And that means you can definitely use your refrigerator or a couple of smaller appliances along with some small things like charging your phones and stuff. Okay. Lower total cost of ownership. This speaks for itself. People constantly say EVs are expensive, and that's sort of a holdover from the perception back in 2015, 2016, when most EVs were 30, 40, 50% premium on top of a comparable gas car. Today, an EV is cheaper, both at the, not cheaper, but comparable at the point of sale to a comparable gas car. And the cost of ownership over time is just super nothing. I'm in year 3 of my current lease, and I haven't had to do anything. I haven't changed anything. It's because an EV, for better or worse, is an appliance. It's reliable like an appliance, like your fridge. You expect your fridge to work for a long time, and it just works. That's what I tell people about EVs, and it's true. Incentives. Gosh, you can save up to $7,500 more if you're income qualified. The federal clean tax credit, that's new EVs up to $7,500. I'm going to show you a sort of breakdown slide in the next slide or two. Home charging is a federal tax credit where you get 30% of the cost for installing a home charger. Utility and CCA incentives, they run $1,000 to $4,000. These are all stackable. You can get one and then the other and then the other and stack them. When we were talking about the Chevy Bolt not so long ago, you could get a Bolt for under $20,000 because of all the incentives. And you see that the savings calculator is pg&e.com/incentives, plugstar.com/tools/incentives. Those will help you figure this out. And they're pretty easy to use as far as online tools go. Federal clean tax credit. This just makes my head hurt. I mean, there's going to be a time when this is not complicated, but right now there are vehicle price limits. There's a difference between if you lease or buy. There are income limits for you or your household. I don't want your head to hurt too much. This is where we really should all just ask people who know. I bought through Cartelligent. They know this stuff. You can ask us either here in the chat or by email. In the meantime, know that there are these rules, and now I'm going to show you how they apply to vehicles. So these are big dollars. I mean, I would love to get $3,700 off one of those nice BMWs. Oh, they drive so nice. Cadillac, the Chevy Bolt, $7,500 off a vehicle that has MSRP right around $30,000. So that assumes, by the way, that you have enough income to have owed or paid more than $7,500 in the calendar year, right? So if you're super low income, that might not apply to you, but most people manage to make enough and pay the government enough to get that money back. The Blazer, the Equinox, the Silverado, they all get the full 75. You can see the Chrysler Pacifica PHEV. If you can find one, they're awesome. People love those cars so much. I won't read the rest. You can see that there's lots of good federal tax credit opportunities here. And we will, there's like a couple of links that I'll share with you later for if you really want to dive down into this. All right. Oh yeah, the lease versus new thing. Okay, here's the thing. When you lease a new EV, a dealer may offer you the pass-through of the full credit, because if you buy it, you get the full tax credit. If you lease it, you're not entitled to any tax credit, but in this competitive market for cars, dealers are almost always going to pass along the full value of the tax credit. If they're not, then you need to look them in the eye and say, why aren't you doing that? And see what kind of answer you get. There's some new stuff. The pre-owned EV rebate, 30% sale price up to 4,000 max. That's pretty new, and it's darn good because there's so many EVs coming on the market used right now. It does mean you have to pay less than $25K. There's ways to make that happen. There are income limits again, $75K. For a single person, head of household 112, joint 150. That's, yeah, they're not always easy to make, those credits. And we're getting close to being done. After we're done being close to being done, we're going to get to questions. If you've been putting anything, just looking at the chat, there's lots of good chat going on. That's awesome. All right, utility, CCA, and city rebates. They're virtually everywhere, whether your utility is PG&E or a CCA like San Jose Clean Energy. And there are city and sometimes county rebates that come into play. You might have to do a little research yourself. If you're dealing with someone at a dealership, they should know. If you're going through Cartelligent, they will know and just tell you right off the bat. There are those incentives calculators, PG&E and Plugstar, so use them to the full extent of the law, and you will not regret that. Oh, now one of my favorite slides. EV discount campaign. So Ride and Drive Clean, as I said, we're a nonprofit, but we partner with Cartelligent to bring more people to EVs because we offer this extra amount off. Thousands off the MSRP of these cars. You go to our website, you fill out this form, and you will see. Let me go back one slide just to show you. I mean, there's four very different cars here. If any of them appeal to you and you haven't gotten a car yet, well, or your neighbor's about to get a car, they might want to get it. Fill out this form and submit it. And among the last items we need to remind you of is the clean air decal. Get this. It's eligible for new EVs, some PHEVs. It's 3 full years. It costs $22. And you have such a feeling of stepping beyond the velvet rope when you get into that carpool lane and you're just a solo driver. It's among the many pleasures of owning an EV. There is some income qualification, and you just apply through the DMB. E-bike discount campaign. How many of you have ridden an e-bike? Anybody? I'm looking. Nobody's raising their hand. Okay, you should treat yourself. Go down to an e-bike dealer and treat yourself to an e-bike ride. They're awesome. I haven't bought one yet. I'm looking. Oh, Lawrence has got one. just go. Because if you are in any way the kind of person who likes biking, runs errands, likes to go out for a ride just to get some fresh air, when you get an e-bike, you will go out more often. You will go farther more often. You will not think twice about running an errand with it. So highly recommend. We have a discount campaign in which there's like $400 worth of stuff off of all sorts of e-bikes, which brings the price down. I mean, it's pricey, right? We're all used to a bicycle being a few $100 and an e-bike isn't. It's a couple thousand, but you can get deals, you can get incentives, and I just can't help but highly recommend it. Oh, we're done. Ask me anything EV. Well, okay, thank you for attending. I need to ask you some questions. I'm going to launch this poll. What can be done to advocate for more structure and support? One of the things that we do through Carlene, our founder, Red Drive Clean's founder, is we work with California agencies and federal agencies to make sure that we have more sensible ways to build out infrastructure. I mean, right now there's a whole nonsense web of competing utilities and prices and priorities. Like sometimes you can put in a charging station on one side of the street and the electric rate you get is much less than on the other side of the street, and people are still grappling with that now. Stuff like that needs to be fixed. It can't be fixed fast enough, but we are working. Carlene has been working with Pete Buttigieg and Jennifer Granholm and the Iowa National Lab, or is it Idaho? No offense to Iowa and Idaho. Sometimes I get you confused. But one of you has a national lab which is leading the charge, no pun intended, to get better and more reliable charging infrastructure everywhere in the country. And Carlene's been working with them. Who else has got a question? Let me go back and look at chat. Why would anyone install a CCS charger at home when NACS is around the corner for non-Tesla vehicles? Are you going to drag me into the weeds here, Roland? Yeah, so it looks like the North American Charging Standard, or NACS, which is what Tesla calls its proprietary charging system, is going to be adopted, if not by all manufacturers, by the end of, say, next year. The vast majority already have committed to it. And the thing about the home charger is yeah, it may have a CCS spigot at the end, but almost every home charger is going to have the ability to adapt, either with an adapter that you got with your car or one that you can order for your car. And they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, I hate to pay $25 or $35 for something that I should be getting with my car, but such as it is.
I have two simple questions.
Please go, Susan.
Yeah. I'm just in the process of buying a Kia Soul EV that's from 2017, but very low mileage. And it's actually being shipped down to me from Washington State, where I was able to find the one that had the right elements that I wanted. And so there are two things. I live in Park Merced, which is a big residential community in San Francisco, and it has charging stations at all of the high rises and 4 more in the parking lot, underground parking lot, but apparently almost none of them work. Apparently only one of them actually works. And they're all like level 1 chargers or something like that. So that was kind of discouraging for me. Like, how can we put pressure on management or whoever owns these things to actually get them working? So that's my first question.
Okay. And you know what the answer is. It's the usual ways one puts pressure on a manager or your landlord, whatever you want to call them, asking constantly, getting your neighbors to ask as well. We don't have, there is actually a vehicle owners group. It's called Bay Area EV, something on Facebook. I'll get back to you on that. But it's just a one-by-one fight right now, because I'm shocked that Park Merced, with its hundreds and hundreds of units, does not have more working stations. But then again, I'm not shocked, because so many people come to us with stories of not having working stations. What's your second question, Susan?
Yeah. Actually, there's over 3,000 units in Park Merced. Yeah, exactly. So my second question is just that I didn't think I could get a rebate because it's a Kia and it wasn't assembled in the US, but apparently you said that that's not a requirement for pre-owned cars.
That is my understanding. You know what? I'm 99% sure, but let me double check and get back to you.
Okay,
but you have to buy it from a dealer. It can't be a private sale. It's gotta come from a dealer.
Yeah, I actually did buy it from a dealer, but the dealer didn't say anything about the rebates. And is that because it was in another state, or just because they're just not knowledgeable and, I can still get the rebate?
Well, they're two different used rebates. There's a California rebate, and then with the IRA, there's a federal rebate.
Right.
It may not start till next year. I'm not sure on that. But it's a changing landscape, and the dealers don't really care so much, so long as they get their money. So you got to do your own homework.
Okay, so I haven't taken possession of the vehicle yet, but it's okay. It's not too late to actually get the rebate.
That is my understanding.
The California rebate you get after the fact. And
right.
If the federal rebate is active this year, you'd have to get it after the fact. Starting next year, I don't know if it's like the new car rebate or not, where you get it at the dealership. But if you bought it this year, then you'll have to deal with it at tax time.
Right, that's fine. Better late than never, because I didn't even think I could get a rebate, so that's great. I understand the California one is gone, but apparently there's a federal one. And then actually I have one more quick question, which is I still have my gas Subaru that's still running great. It's 25 years old, but I would be happy to relinquish it to that program that pays you to give up your old gas car, but they have it segmented by zip codes around San Francisco. And for some reason, my zip code doesn't qualify me. Do you know anything about that, giving up your gas car?
I did that once with a 1995 Toyota that I loved very much, but we now had a new Bolt. So it was easy to do, and we got $1,000 for it. We did it in San Francisco, and I'm understanding that there may well be a zip code related thing that I don't know about.
Okay.
There are multiple retirement programs, and I think the least favorable one, I think everyone in the state is eligible for, is $1,000. But then depending on the zip code, and I think it's a different funding source, a different program, you can get many thousands more, and also income based.
Thank you so much, both of you, for
what Lawrence said.
Got it. Okay, good. Thanks.
iPhone 465, you just cleared your throat. Are you going to ask a question?
Well, I was the one that mentioned the driveclean.ca.gov.
Yes.
That site, if you just put in a zip code, it will bring up all the incentives in that zip code. So to the lady who was talking about used incentives and stuff, it will give you new car incentives, used incentives, and also electricity or EDUs incentives as well.
Oh,
so
that's thank you for
pretty
reminding us. Yes. And
it's a pretty
Susan,
comprehensive
I'm sure you
spot.
got that. Yes. All right, kids. Well, so I'm going to say we have covered a lot of ground. You will get the presentation and a note coming from Annika, not from me. And please do use us as a resource. If you want to shoot us an email, just do that and we will get back to you.
I do have a quick question. Can I jump in real fast?
Yeah, sure.
I jumped in late because I was just landing from work, but you were talking about if a multifamily home wants to install a charger or something in their apartment complex, whatever, they could reach out to you as a resource to help with that?
A resource to help only in the sense that we know people who have done it. We can tell you about best practices. We don't actually advocate or, help you read a contract. We're in a right to charge state. And what that means is if you want to put a charger into your condo unit, into your multifamily unit, you have to be allowed. You would maybe have to, you would almost assuredly have to pay for it, but we are a right to charge state here in California.
Okay. That's what I just wanted. That you would be a good resource, like you said, for best practices. Perfect.
Right. We know stuff kind of off the top of our heads. All right, kids, thanks for coming. Appreciate your time, and we will be following up soon.